Hey everyone, Technoman here with a video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to compare the new iPhone 16 Pro with the iPhone 13 Pro that was released 3 years ago. So let's get started. Now, both of these phones are the Pro model. As you can see here, I have them right in my hand here. Now, first thing is going to be the size difference between these two phones. The 16 Pro comes in a 6.3-inch display versus a 6.1 inch for the 13 Pro. So that's going to be right off the bat the biggest difference here. Other thing you'll notice is the comparison for that dynamic island and that, of course, top notch here. It's going to be one of the bigger things right off the bat that's noticeable. You also notice the bezel size difference around it if you look very closely between them. And then moving on to the actual body of it, the body builds are slightly different here in the material build. The 16 Pro comes with titanium build versus the 13 Pro, which are stainless steel body on these phones here. And then if I look at the back here, you can't notice much difference here besides the color, of course, and those triple cameras here, but there is something different about the camera, which we'll discuss. But moving on to other noticeable things are going to be the action button on the new iPhone 16 Pro versus the ringer or the silent button that's on the 13 Pro. And then this physical SIM card for the US model that was still available on the 13 Pro, but starting with the iPhone 14 and later in the US models, they are no longer physical. You have to use eSIM. So you can use both eSIM and the physical on the 13 Pro. Only on the US model iPhone 16 Pro you can use eSIM. In the bottom, you probably can't see it, but you'll notice here's a difference in terms of charging capabilities. The 16 Pro uses the USB-C cable charging and then a lightning for the 13 Pro as well. And then for the wireless charging, which we don't see it here, it's a slight build as well. The wireless on the 16 Pro, you're able to now charge up to 25 watt using a 30 watt adapter. Unfortunately, on the 13 Pro, it's just a normal charging speed here. And then on this side here, moving on, you'll notice there's a new camera action button that's available here. If I click on it, let's go ahead and show you how that's done. We can go ahead and activate, as you can see, the camera, which is not available on the 13 Pro. So a lot of changes in the body between these phones, and that's kind of a given here. Now, one thing I'm going to mention, as we mentioned, is the camera differences here. The camera between them are going to be very different here. The 16 Pro, of course, with every new iPhone models, Apple upgrades its camera. You're looking at 48 megapixel camera and the wide angle as well. So those are pretty beefed up cameras compared to the 13 Pro, which just has that 12 megapixel main camera. And then you'll notice things like spatial mode that's available, that's not available on the 13 Pro, and all the things like these more advanced features which around the camera that has been improvement, which you can get the detail, but basically the camera is much better and improved on the 16 Pro. And then the other aspect it's going to be around is your charging capability between these two devices. You'll notice the charging, as we mentioned, is upgraded, but along with that is the battery on the 16 Pro was around 27 hours versus only 22 hours, so 5 hours in terms of the battery life rated to be for the video playback between these devices. Now, probably the most important aspect of these phones are going to be its software here. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro comes with iOS 18 off the bat. The 13 Pro, you can upgrade it to iOS 18, which means a couple things here. First thing, the Apple Intelligent, which hasn't made its way to the iPhone yet, but will not be available on the 13 Pro. So if you have a 13 Pro expecting Apple Intelligent, it will not come even with the iOS 18 upgrade. And even on the 16 Pro, Apple Intelligent hasn't come. It's going to come sometime in fall. Exact date isn't given here. And the 16 Pro Max, you can get Apple Intelligent, and the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max are the only models along with the 16 lineup that will get the Apple Intelligent feature. Now, other features that you might be thinking, or if you haven't noticed, is that the 16 Pro, you have emergency SOS via satellite, roadside assistant via satellite, and messages via satellite. And the other important thing is crash detection ability that are not available on the 13 Pro. Those are going to be some big, heavy upgrades between these devices if you do consider upgrading from it. So overall, if you're thinking about upgrading from the 13 Pro to the 16 Pro, it is a big update in terms of the battery life you have, the camera upgrades you're getting, the wireless charging upgrades you're getting, and of course things like dynamic island. The speed on the phones are going to be vastly different here. The 16 Pro comes with the A18 Pro chip versus the 13 Pro, which features a A15 Bionic chip, and that's a big upgrade in the chipset design of it. And as I mentioned, all the other features with the satellite and the roadside assistant, and of course the performance are going to be a big improvement if you're looking for something for gaming, graphic heavy, much more improved photography. This is where the 16 Pro would make sense. The 15 Pro again is now available. 13 Pro, you cannot get it directly from Apple any longer. You would have to get it from another sites like Amazon or eBay, or from a second-hand market as well. So in comparison, if you're thinking about upgrading to the 13 Pro to the 16 Pro, probably worth the upgrade considering all the changes. But the iPhone 13 Pro still holds its value and still does a lot, especially with that physical SIM card that you have. Again, it does most of your basic stuff and even more with it. And it's probably going to be good for another year or two because it's getting those major upgrades. So you're getting those features that are going to be available on the 16 Pro without missing out on too much. So that's our review of it. I want to hear from you guys. What's your thought if you used one versus another, upgraded from one to another? Leave a comment in the comment section. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time.